Good morning, everyone. I'm Danny with IELLO, and I'm here to talk about our new releases for the year. This year, we're kind of scaling back on the amount of games we're releasing, so we only have a few titles to talk about. Our first one for the year is Decrypto, which you may have heard about. This is a team party word game. So on your team, you're looking at 4 secret words. Each round, there's going to be one player who gives a secret code, a 3-digit code. You're going to do that by giving words related to your secret words. So you are saying them out loud. The opposing team is also listening and trying to intercept your code. They're taking notes and following your clues round after round. If they intercept your clue twice, they win. If, on the same team, you do not give the correct code, you don't guess correctly, you get a miscommunication token, and that's bad, because if you get 2 of those, you lose. So this is a $20 game. It's my personal favorite for the year. It's releasing here at GAMA. In general, it'll be available starting April 19. Our next one, releasing in just a couple of weeks, is Fairy Tile. This is a tile laying and storytelling game. It's a light strategy. It takes only about 30 minutes to play. The goal of the game is to be the first one to finish your story. So each player has a deck of cards that have certain objectives to accomplish using both the characters and the terrain of the map. On your turn, you can do one action. You can move a character, you can add a map, or you can turn a page. Turning a page is putting your objective card on the bottom of the deck if it's going to take you too long to accomplish. If you do that, then you get some magic powers that let you do double actions on a future turn. Adding a map is simple. You know how to do that. Each character moves slightly differently. It's not like I'm the dragon and you're the knight. We're controlling them communally. The princess can move 1 space and also teleport through castles because of magic. The knight moves 2 spaces away, and the dragon will fly all the way across the board until he reaches the edge of the kingdom. So this game, though light, is pretty interesting. There's some pretty fun interactions because your objectives are secret. By accomplishing my goal, I may help or hurt you unintentionally. So there's some pretty outrageous, like, hey, don't do that. So yeah, this release date is March 29th, so just a couple of weeks. The Legend of the Cherry Tree that blossoms every 10 years, which is quite a mouthful, so I just call it Cherry Tree. This is releasing in May. It's a set collection and push your luck game, but instead of using cards, what we're doing is collecting flower petals. On your turn, you're going to draw flower petals from the bag. You get up to 3 draws. You can stop early if you want, and you can draw up to 8 flower petals. You push your luck too far if you get 3 of the same color or 5 different colors, and then there's a penalty. If, however, you don't push your luck too far, you get to distribute them between the front of your screen and behind your screen, and they score differently depending on where you place them. So in front is simple set collection. For example, the more blue flowers you have, the more points you have. You have to be careful, though, because if you have 1 or 2, then they're negative points. Behind your screen, it's majority. So at the end of the game, we'll separate the flowers into cool tone colors and warm tone colors. And then whoever has the most of each type will get points accordingly. It's entirely open information. You see what everyone's drawn and where they place their flowers. However, to make it interesting, there are wild colors. So in front, black is a joker. Behind, white and black flowers are jokers. So you know how many people have, but you don't know how they're going to decide to split them up between warm and cool. So the end of the game, though this is a short 20-minute game, the end is very tense. There's a big dramatic moment where you lift up your screens and you're like, ah, shoot, I thought you were going to put those over here. So I'm quite a big fan. This is only $20. It comes with thick cardboard screens, over 100 flower petals, and a nice vinyl bag. Raids is our June release, our Origins release. It's a racing game with elements of set collection and backstabbing, fighting. So it plays over 4 rounds only. A round is everyone going around the world and returning their ship back to harbor. What you're doing is collecting tiles along the way. Those tiles can either be rune stones that you're collecting, so set collection. They can be improvements for your ship, weapons that let you fight monsters easier, sails that give you Vikings, goods that you'll sell for points. You'll also attack monsters and collect Vikings as you travel around the world. A big part of the game, however, is fighting your opponents, fighting over these tiles. So movement, whoever is in the last place on the board moves first, and you can move as far forward as you wish. If you move to the same space as somebody else, then you trigger a combat. So if I arrive second, I'm the instigator. I have to sacrifice 1 Viking. If you also want that tile, you want to continue to fight for it, then you have to sacrifice 2. And I have to sacrifice 3 more. So 4 total, and we'll keep going, increasing our Viking sacrifices until either someone is out of Vikings or you just don't want to sacrifice anymore. And then the loser will move on. This is a $40 game. It includes hefty engraved metal coins, which are very nice, and wooden Vikings and boats. Everything else is cardboard, but it's a really good deal for the component quality. So this is June. Then our last game of the year is called 8-Bit Box. So it's reminiscent of Atari video games. It's essentially a board game console that we're selling. So this is one of the cartridges that will be included in the box. This is Pixoid. It's a movement programming game. So everyone will have their little controllers, as you can see. Simultaneously, we'll choose a direction and how many pips we want to move, reveal. The ghost character is trying to catch the non-ghost character, and so on. So the base box will come with all sorts of wooden bits that will be used in the various cartridges, and we'll include 2 or 3 cartridges in the base box, to be determined. We're not quite sure how many yet. And then we'll have more cartridges available as mini expansions. So this will be available in October. It's our big Essen release, and we're pretty excited about it. That's our entire year. So not too many things, but we're very excited about all of them. If you have any questions about our games, you can email me at info@iellogames.com. Thanks.
My name is Amanda, and I'm here with Cryptozoic to tell you about what we have upcoming for this year. We have a lot of exciting games planned, so I'm going to just jump right in. So for 2018, this game industry is really exciting, and there's a lot of really cool things. So we're trying to focus on games that are really exciting and new and have something unique to offer. So The Arrival is already out. This is a game by Martin Wallace that we picked up to distribute, and it has a lot of really interesting dynamics. You may already have this in your stores, and it has a really unique. There's 2 different win conditions and 2 different endgame conditions, and depending on the circumstances of the endgame condition, changes which win condition is important. So I think that's very unique. Now, we are definitely known for our DC deck building line. We have a great variety of products, and we decided to lean into it and continue to expand the DC deck building line that has been really popular, and we actually have 4 games coming out this year for our DC deck building. So the first of which I'll mention is the crossover Pack 7 New Gods. And so what's interesting about New Gods is that there are 2 territories that you are protecting. There is New Genesis and Apocalypse. Players can play as either heroes or villains, and it is not necessarily cooperative. Just because you're on the same team does not mean that you are working together, but you do try to protect your home base, so that's very fun. Another thing that we are coming out with is the Crisis Pack 4. So we had Crisis Pack for the base game, and then a Crisis Pack for Heroes United, Villains, and so now this one correlates with the Teen Titans. There are 14 new heroes that you can use. The first 7 are the Teen Titans themselves, but with more cooperative abilities since this is a co-op game. And then the other 7 are the Titans themselves. All right, and there is an OP kit with Crisis 4. The next thing that we are going to be doing is the DC deck building game Rebirth. So this is a standalone game, and there is a movement component to this one. So the box includes the Mighty Meeples. So those will be your player characters, your player markers, and so you will move from location to location to receive and have the opportunity to buy a variety of different cards. So there's an OP kit with that one as well. And so speaking of the OP kits, we will be increasing from 250 to 700 OP kits that will be available. We'll also be expanding to Canada. They will also be available. And they will be the same cost as before. And so the Black Lightning promo will be available with the Crisis 4 release, and the Forager promo will be available with the Rebirth release. Right. And so this is really exciting. We mentioned it just here first. This will be Rivals 2 Green Lantern versus Sinestro. It is a 2-player game, and it goes really well with the DC confrontations as well as the DC Rivals Batman Joker. It is a standalone game, but it also combines with the other DC games very well. Very excited to see this one come to be. And so another thing that we really leaned into is Epic Spell Wars. Get ready to get a little icky. This is definitely an SFW, or not safe for work game. And we are focusing more on magically transmitted diseases. There are creatures involved in this one. And there's also a unique sack that looks probably exactly like you think it does. There's also a protection component with the standee that will move around that does offer you protection from these magically transmitted diseases like gorgonorrhea, genital herpes, hepatitis Z. So staying with the theme of the game, catering to the crowd that already loves these sort of raunchy fun games, and it's a raunchy fun game that does have, you know, some really solid rules and things like that. So that one's definitely very fun. So this one is definitely a really interesting one to me. It is a fun, lighthearted party game called The Wallets. What's really unique about this game is that this is the whole game. This is the game package. It has a really nice shelf presence, but then this is the game that you have, and you play the game with the wallet. You can take and pass cards from the wallet without looking as you pass it around to all of your other friends. It is a set collection game, so you're trying to get rid of incriminating evidence by putting it into the wallet and passing it around, as well as taking the resources that you need, hopefully, out of the wallet as you pass it around, and trying not to look, not to be guilty. You try to get the evidence into the wallet, etc. So it's a really quick game. It takes 15 to 30 minutes to play. A really good, palate cleansing game for a game night, or just something quick to have on the go. All right. Now, we have a variety of Rick and Morty games, and what I really enjoy about them is that they're all episodic. So every game focuses on a particular episode of Rick and Morty, and it really leans into the narrative. And so if you've seen this episode, you know how to play the game. But in case you haven't, Rick's car engine is broken, and they investigate, and there is a civilization inside his engine powering his car. And so when they go into that civilization, there's yet another civilization beneath that powering their civilization, and so on and so forth. And so this is an engine building game, which I find that pun very hilarious. So it's an engine building game where you have mutual resources powering up each other's own devices to score victory points. And one of our favorite games that we are doing is the Pickle Rick game. This is it. This is the container for the game. So it is very fun. Inside of this is going to be a tray for the cards, dice, and miniatures. There's 2 miniatures also. There's Pickle Rick and Jaguar. It is a 2-player game, or 1 to 2-player game, so you can play with your friend or by yourself. It's a really fun, simple tile layout game that I really enjoy. Yeah. We will also have Rick Shank Rickdemption, which is another standalone Rick and Morty deck building game. And we do have the Szechuan sauce card. Very important, I know. So we got you covered. All right. Another awesome thing that we're doing is DC Spyfall. This game is super fun. We're taking our Spyfall and combining with our DC license and creating a lot of unique locations. And we also added 3 modules to it. So there's the Joker's Jest, which is all Joker cards, Multiverse, all location cards, and the Harley Quinn Helper, where she has to help the Joker win. And if she gets accused as a Joker, she loses and the Joker wins. So here's some sample of some of the cards. Batcave, Mogo. There's the Harley Quinn Helper icon. So if you are dealt a card with that icon on it and you're playing with the module, then you have to help the Joker. Flash. Themyscira, Fortress of Solitude. And an offer that we're offering for this is for retailers. If you buy a case of 6, get 6 promo cards of the Swamp deck, because we definitely want to get people excited about this game and get you excited to have this game in your store. And so it's a really fun little way to help promote the game. All right, and Bronze is another Euro game that we are featuring to have sort of more of a hobby game selection also. What makes this one really unique is the map tiles. You actually, depending on the number of players you're playing with, have a different number, 7, 9, or 11 tiles. And as you play, you shuffle them, you lay them out, and you have 2, and then as you explore, you flip the map tiles, revealing what locations are available to you. So it will be different every time. You won't know what is available to you until you get there, having a really interesting exploration dynamic. There's different ways to earn points, different endgame conditions, different paths to victory. And so this one's also a really interesting addition to the Cryptozoic roster. And this one is definitely another really interesting addition to the roster. Can anybody guess the pop culture character that we have up there? All right.
Joker.
You are correct. It is the Joker. So you know how to play the game. So it's sort of it's a party game with which you use different cards to combine in order to get people to guess a certain pop culture character. There's over 100 cards. Every time you play, you get a hand of 5, discard 2 cards, and then you have 3 cards. So you only have 3 cards per round. It ends when somebody runs out of cards. And so there's a lot of replayability, a lot of really creativity to how you choose to play the cards. And so yes, if you have any questions about any of these games, I kind of had to skim through them. We are available at our booth, 325, excuse me. Haven't had my coffee. 325, if you have any other questions about these games, we have them available to tell you more.
Morning, guys. I'm Will Schick. I'm the executive director from Privateer Press, and I am Iron Man. Sorry, I had to do that because you guys come on. All right, bad comedy jokes over with. What are we really here to talk about? We're here to talk about Monsterpocalypse. So for those of you guys who caught our big announcement last Thursday, we are relaunching Monsterpocalypse, which was a game that released as a collectible miniatures game in 2018, or 2008. It's 2018 now. 10 years ago, I'm doing real good, and I had coffee, so I have no excuse. This is going great. I will totally be back next year. So 2008, we released Monsterpocalypse as a collectible miniatures game. It was pre-painted, pre-assembled, and in blind buy boxes. We saw a huge community grow around the game. It was a lot of fun. It had a lot of success for us. It ran its course. And we've always wanted to come back to Monsterpocalypse since that time because it's been kind of a beloved property for us. This year turned out to be the right year for a lot of reasons, and through our conversations we decided to not only revamp Monsterpocalypse into a more second edition, but we also decided to take a really hard look at the game itself and make some significant changes. The biggest one being that it is now no longer a collectible miniatures game. It is now a full-on hobby miniatures game. So no more pre-assembled, no more pre-painted, and no more blind buy. Instead, much like our War Machine and Horde's flagship lines, this will be a full-on hobby miniatures product. So you will buy the models that you want out of normal packaging, you will put them together, and then you will paint them in your own colors if you choose, and then drop them on a map and play the game. The game itself is very reminiscent of the original game, so it is definitely a second edition. We've streamlined and improved a lot of the rules after 10 years of experience and knowledge with the game to make it a bit more modern, to make it a lot more accessible to new players. We're hoping to use this as a feeder game for new players to get into hobby miniatures games specifically. The models are super exciting and gorgeous. Who doesn't love having giant robots and monsters tramping over an interactive cityscape? The thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about today, because all of this information that I just kind of summarized really quick is available on monsterpocalypse.com. So I want to talk about, we've talked a little bit about the launch. So the launch of the product will include 2 starters that will feature both of the agendas that launch the game, which are the protectors, the good guys, and the destroyers, the bad guys. Those starter products will include the big bad robot Defender X, who you see over on the my left, your right, versus Gorgadra, who's the big bad planet eater who wants to eat everything on my right, your left. Those starter products will include everything one player needs to play the game. We're targeting an MSRP of $49.99. In addition to those products that that come out with the starter boxes that every player will need, we'll also be launching unit support packs alongside of those, 2 for each of the factions. And this will kind of represent our release pattern. So in every month, you will see a monster supported by unit packs that basically flesh out its faction, so its role in the army. And when you build your army, you effectively can mix and match between any faction that works in your agenda. So the good guys' agenda or the bad guys' agenda. So I wanted to talk a little bit today, while I have your guys' attention, about what to expect after the launch. So we're going to show off the next 2 factions that will be released post-launch for Monster Apocalypse. And you can see here that we've got our big tentacled alien interdimensional monsters known as the Lords of Thule. They will be one of our second launch factions. They will follow up on the starter products. And these guys feature effectively the interdimensional horrors that have come forth to enslave humanity, do some pretty nasty things to them. They're not very nice. They definitely belong in the Destroyer's agenda. So these guys will pair up very nicely with the Planet Eaters. The Lords of Thule are very focused on mechanics such as manipulation and board control. They can throw your units into raging infernos, which is really not nice because they don't have to roll dice to do it. They just kind of go, boop, and you're burned up. The unit packs, so Mr. Thugrosh over there, you can see the big tentacled monster. He's going to be our lead monster for the Lords of Thule. Alongside of him are going to release 2 unit packs. There will be a unit pack that includes the Spitters and Taskmasters. And the Spitter is the little gribbly guy up top that looks like a starfish from hell. We also are going to have the second unit pack, which is going to include the Squicks and the Meat Slave. The Meat Slave is a particularly gribbly monster who is basically a human that's been stuffed full of Lords of Thule juice, and he bursts open at random points to reveal that he was holding Thule monsters the entire time. It's real gross, not fun, definitely not a party gimmick that you want to try out. Opposing these villainous bad guys is going to be our cybernetic ninjas from the Shadow Sun Syndicate. These guys are effectively humans that have been enhanced and overhauled to be able to grow to tremendous size at will, and they combine the best of martial arts with super cybernetics and ninja fighting action. So leading off the charge for our good guy Shadow Sun Syndicate, we have Zor Maxim, who is a martial arts master, loves throwing dudes into buildings and then punching them in the face just to add insult to injury at the same time. He is not a nice man, but when you're fighting mad and mean monsters, you don't want a nice man on your side. Backing them up, not every Shadow Sun Syndicate ninja gets the chance to become 60 feet tall. Some of them can only grow to 25 feet tall. We still love them, and we call them S-type shinobis. That will be one of the unit packs that will be backing up Zor Maxim in his fight against the tentacled horrors of the Lords of Thule. In addition, there's a really sweet race car called an Interceptor. It's a very speed racer in its way. It flies across the map with the greatest of ease and basically disrupts your opponent's plan. So that will be backing up the S-type shinobis that will be coming in that booster pack. The second booster pack includes the Sunfighter, which I love because it looks like it jumped right out of a 1980s arcade game. And I'll let you guys figure out which one. That man's playing Galaga. So the Sunfighter will be coming with a Shadowgate. One of the things the Shadow Sun Syndicate is really well known for is they've mastered teleportation technology. So the Shadowgate's kind of this little floating doodad that roams around the map, and then ninjas can just jump out of it and say, "Hi-ya!" It's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to get somebody to laugh out loud on camera. It's going to happen, or everyone will just laugh at me, and I'm cool with that on the screen. So those will be our following unit packs. Following these, we will also be doing three-dimensional buildings because Monster Apocalypse, like I said, is played over an interactive urban landscape. So we'll be releasing 2 building packs that will include an assortment of different unique buildings that players can assemble, paint, and put on their maps to supplement the free buildings, the cardstock apartment buildings that come in the starter box. Players can play with up to 12 buildings. So that will round out our second wave of releases. And then I wanted to take a quick talk about our organized play program. So we have announced that we are going to have a very robust organized play program. Part of that program is that every tournament kit will include a special edition model that represents a unique sculpt based on a model that already exists in the game. So here you have our Privateer Press HQ, which will be replacing our downtown high-rise. This will be our first model. It will be available for limited time in those kits. Again, it's just an alternate model that players can earn through playing the game. It's going to be our primary support method. We'll also be doing other advanced models or unique models as well as the programs roll out for our leagues. But we're really excited to be able to offer this opportunity. We think that these are going to be very compelling prize kits, and we've seen the strength of organized play and how it helps build community within the stores and the retail environment, and also just energizes people to want to come in, get their Monster Smashing action on, and play through. So there'll be plenty more coming at that, but this will be our launch OP tournament support prize, and we're pretty excited to be able to offer that. So with that, I will stop terrifying you with my horrible jokes and let you guys get back to stuff. But thank you very much for the opportunity. Really appreciate the chance, and look for Monster Apocalypse launching this fall in 2018.
I'm Elizabeth Piotr. I am the Global Marketing Director from UltraPro. In the packet is my card, so if you have any questions at the presentation, please feel free to reach out to me. I am happy to answer your questions. It was absolutely worth burning 2 minutes of my 10 to make sure everybody got items to put in their hands, because that's what we do. We make the things that go with the games you love. So I'm going to start out. This is our big announcement. We launched the Eclipse line in 2017, and since its launch and subsequent distribution, we have not been able to keep up with the demand. It is our best-selling sleeve. And over the last 6 months, we have been surveying players. We launched a giant campaign that got about 7,000 responses back, in which we asked players to vote on what, based on the game they play, what the packaging that they were looking for in their sleeves. So we made a change because they spoke loud and clear. And it's, we love your sleeves, we want them in 100 count packs. So we have relaunched the Eclipse 100 count sleeves. The 80 counts have been discontinued. And to avoid confusion, we've also renamed the colors and given them all new part numbers so that retailers have an easier job differentiating and making choices when purchasing. So we have all new colors. And with the relaunch, featured at the bottom is our 3 new colors by popular and loud and vocal demand: purple, hunter green, and gray. So that is our Eclipse launch. These are shipping now. Retailers are going to come home from GAMA to their 100 count packs that they've ordered. So distributors have these in hand and are working to get them out now. So, all right, next slide. We have Eclipse for 60 counts, a small size sleeve. We found that the Yu-Gi-Oh players were, and small card size game players were really excited to keep the 60 counts, so we left that. For retailers, one of the common problems they have is differentiating between small and standard sleeves, and players picking up the wrong size by mistake and having to offer refunds or absorb sleeves in. So we've changed the packaging so that all small size sleeves are bold white at the top and all standard size sleeves are black to make it easier for retailers to stock and also for players to see what they need and get it without making a mistake. All right. This one is a brand new product line for UltraPro. We make sleeves, we make accessories. We get asked all the time about life counters and different ways to help manage gameplay. And this is a product we worked with directly with Wizards on. The Relic Token Collection, which you all have a pack. Careful if you open that up on the floor. Gamers smell foil packs opening and they'll come find you. And these do exactly that. These are foil packed, just like a Magic booster pack, and same size to allow retailers to easily offer them. Hang bag. They also come in a display box, so easily absorbable into your store. They come in foil and regular, and they are blind packed 3 to a pack. These are a touch and feel product. People oftentimes think that even with the pictures that they are, you can go ahead and slide to the next one. People think they're cardboard until they feel the weight behind these. So I wanted you all to have one. Feel free to crack it. I hope you get a foil. So they're dual dialed, so you can track power and toughness, or you can track quantity or life totals or commander damage or poison damage. They're all multifunction, and we have seen the trading happening already, so we are happy to see these. Retailers really responded well, so we are excited to bring these out. I want to sneak in for a second. The Eclipse launch, everyone loves our Eclipse sleeves, but what they don't know is starting at the beginning of 2017, when we were developing Eclipse, we actually came up with that method of making those sleeves in an effort to improve image sleeves. We have been hearing for the last 10 years that image sleeves, while everyone loves the pictures, they peel. And so starting in 2017, we started a new formula that we put in that was specifically designed to stop peeling and increase the stretch and durability and splitting of image sleeves. And players don't know this, but they've been getting our upgraded image sleeves. Our QC is absolutely excited about the change. So that Chroma Fusion logo is on our new Eclipse packaging, but it's also on all forward-moving image sleeves. So anytime you see a new Magic release, a new Pokemon release, and any image sleeve that Ultra Pro produces, it is the new Chroma Fusion technology. So the things you love about Eclipse, you can now get in your you have been getting in your image sleeves. We just didn't do a great job of telling people about it. All right. We've got our Pokemon release for the year. We've got Snorlax. If you want a selfie, you can stop by the booth. We've got a 14-foot tall one, which is pretty rad. Thanks, Pokemon. The Snorlax release is, the excitement for this one, people have been asking for it for years, and so we are very, very excited to bring this one out to market. These ones haven't been seen outside of the WotC office and early distribution, so Ultra Pro's on a path to use technology that's available to make new things and make the things we love better. Wall scrolls is an item we debuted as a promo item. With Wizards, we did a Nicol Bolas promo out for stores, and the demand told us that this was something that they wanted. Gamers want to live their lifestyle at home as well as in their local game store. So we've got a series of wall scrolls coming out featuring iconic Magic art, Lotus Cobra, Baneslayer Angel, and Jace the Mind Sculptor.
What's the dimensions on there?
I would love to tell you that I know that, but I have to look at my notes. But if I can get that for you. We have another iconic line coming out. It's 25th anniversary this year. Retailers haven't seen this one yet. The Black Lotus line is coming this year. We are expecting this one to be a May release. Wall scrolls should fall in that same May release. The Black Lotus, we've done it before, but we decided to bring it back. The card frame is different, and the playmat in particular, the art for the card is cropped in a way that you don't actually get to see some of the beautiful highlighting for the Black Lotus. And so we actually worked to get high-resolution scans of the original piece to be able to bring players a really good look, and the playmat is going to be stunning, and we have the wall scroll to go with it as well. We're very excited to honor Chris Rush's legacy as an artist and give players a new look at a card they love. By popular demand, Fibblethip, a really fun piece of Magic lore. Fibblethip appears often in Magic cards as a lost item. We found him. He wanted to become a plush dice bag for players so that he can live in their backpacks and know where his home is. So Fibblethip is coming. This one's not in any of the slides that we have, and you won't know about it, and you didn't hear it from me, but you might find Fibblethip buried in some of our upcoming Magic products in fun ways, in an unknown fashion. So, and very popular demand featuring the Chroma Fusion technology is the unstable land art sleeves. Again, we are working on changing the way people perceive art sleeves, and that includes doing things like changing the borders of the cards. So we've framed the sleeves differently than players are used to seeing. So we've got a much brighter look with complementary colors rather than just doing simple black borders. Thanks, our art department is fantastic. All right. This one is I'm really excited about this launch. Our Mana Flips have been a top seller in the industry for quite a while. And we have been working on how to improve that item to make it even better for players. So our Alcove line is going to be replacing the Mana Flip line. The Alcove product, it's an Alcove because it's tucked away and hidden. When you open the first set, it opens just like a Mana Flip, and then it comes back one step further so that you can actually get out 2 notches out of your deck so you're not damaging your cards when you have a big commander deck with extra tokens, and it will fit your full commander deck plus extra tokens. We're 100 plus on this one. 100 plus double sleeved, so you have room to spare to make this one. And I got to tell you, we watched the professor shake those boxes. Our VP sent this back 3 times and said, more magnets, stronger magnets. These are absolutely bulletproof in terms of not spilling in your backpack. And they are also new reinforced sides to make them harder. They aren't going to, no bowing. So we took all the feedback that players have been giving us for the last year on the line, and we put it into a product that we're really excited. We are launching it first as a branded item with the mana symbols for Magic, and it will also be coming out in a solid colors as well as a Pokeball box. So those are all launching this year. In our ever-expanding quest to help bring technology to what we do, we are experimenting with some fun stuff. Players are going the distance, foiling their decks, and looking for ways to pimp out their sweet gaming stuff. And so we gave them an LED color-changing light box to try out. This is a brand new product line for us. It holds 200-plus decks inside, place for a life pad, pen, dice. This is your all-in-one box that also happens to change color. We have 2 skins on this one. There's the dragon hide, which has the kind of scaly, awesome feel. And we do have samples of these at the booth for you to try out. And then we also have the Digitech version. The digital, like, more tech style. And these come in at a $49.99 MSRP. It's a new price point for deck boxes, but how are we going to find out what we can do if we don't push the barriers? All right. We got a lot of players that are really excited about Drop Mix. So Hasbro has been launched Drop Mix in 2017, and right away we had an office party where we were playing some Drop Mix, and we were like, oh, these need sleeves. So we picked up the phone and said, can we make that happen? And it turns out we could. So we've got deck boxes with dividers so players can sort the different styles of cards and the different music styles. We've got sleeves. We played around with this a lot because with Drop Mix, how thick the cards are matters. So we had to get the best quality sleeve that helps keep the cards rigid with that RFID chip inside that still allows you to stack up pretty high. So we're excited. You can go 10 high with sleeved Drop Mix cards. We can go one more. GAMA brought us the world premiere. A lot of people don't know we have an entertainment division. We are now making board games because what better way to bring accessories and games together than to test them out on our own products. We have a wonderful deal with Stoneblade. We are working together to bring Ascension out to more places in the market. And Justin Gary, the designer of Ascension, has a brand new game, Shards of Infinity. This is also a deck builder. It's a little bit more streamlined. Instead of players attacking a group pool of points, players are directly attacking each other. So it's a little bit more interactive. Turns are more engaging. But the game also streamlines, and tournament play moves a little bit smoother. So it's a great store OP opportunity as well, because you can have 2-3 round tournaments in a nice time so that players still have fun and don't spend the whole day on one game. Things we love about this: box is only about this big, and the price point comes in at $19.99. It's going to see a 50% drop from the original price point of Ascension, and this box is loaded. This comes with custom dials that help you keep track, so no more loose tokens when you're trying to keep track of life points. And we use the fact that we make dials and life trackers elsewhere, and we incorporated them into an awesome game. The designer is here and happy to talk to you guys. If you want to reach out to us, I'm happy to put you in contact with him. But this game is, I'm an Ascension fan from old, and I am really excited to see this one on the market. And I am excited to bring this out to retailers. It's going to be an excellent fit for hobby stores. So thank you guys so much. You've got some promo relic tokens that aren't Magic branded. I hope you like Doge. Much shuffle, such wow. And you've got your Magic relic tokens, and then you've got a sample of the new Chroma Fusion image sleeves in the Ultra Pro branded deck box. So thank you guys so much for your time.
All right, good morning, everybody. I am Jerome McHale. I'm Senior R&D Specialist at Konami, and I work on Yu-Gi-Oh! It's been about a year since the last time I got out to talk to the people like this. Last year was my first GAMA, and I came last time around to give a presentation on some big changes that were coming to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game last year. We had some pretty big changes to the rules. We had a new type of monster card, Link Monsters, and we were announcing the start of a new animated series as well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. And I have to admit, I was feeling pretty good when I got out of GAMA last time around that everybody was going to be very accepting of the new rules. And then I went on the internet, and we had our players wondering if this was even going to be the same game. So admittedly, I lost a little bit of sleep over that, but when it finally came time for the rule change to happen and we had our starter deck Link Strike, and I get to the very next tournament results and I see 2/3 of the players are already playing with the new monsters, even though they don't really have to, my mind is put at ease. I was feeling really good about it. And I think that our players have adapted very well to the changes and the challenges that we set out for them. And I'm really proud of them, especially in some of our more expanding territories like Latin America, where we've seen a lot of really great tournament attendance. Really, it's been going up for the last few years. And just this year, every time I sit down for a Monday morning meeting and they read off the expected tournament numbers at the regionals, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. And then they say how many people there actually were, and it's a much bigger number. And I just have to put down my coffee and my eyes bug out a little bit, and I just say, wow. That's pretty amazing. And even in Europe, where just a few weeks ago they held their Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series tournament in Bochum, and they got over 2,000 people. Like 957 people showed up when the tournament started, and 250 or so more showed up with a round one loss anyways. They just wanted to come play. And it wound up being the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament in Europe. And it was won by a shocking deck that everybody had written off. The very first deck that was based on the new Link monsters was called World Chalice. Came out in Code of the Duelist at the start of the competitive season back in August. And everybody had written this deck off, and then here comes Marco Perdo with his World Chalice deck, and he just destroys everybody on his way to winning the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament in Europe. And I was excited. I watched it live on our live stream for that. I was thrilled. And that brings us to about where we are today. So we've had Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains running since June now. For the first time ever for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Animated series, it is being simulcast on Crunchyroll.com in North America, Latin America, and parts of Europe. And players are responding pretty well to that as well. This series kind of goes back to a more dramatic sort of storyline as opposed to the more comedy-centric ones of Arc 5 and Zexal. And I think a lot of people that maybe grew up on the original series like me appreciate that a little bit more. And it's easier for players to get attached to the characters when they have conflicts and drama and that sort of thing. Comedy is one of those things that's tough to communicate across language barriers, especially the different styles of comedy. So I was happy to see that we returned to the more dramatic type of TV show, and I think that a lot of our players are as well. So where are we right now with Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, we just released Legendary Collection Kaiba. I think it was just last Friday. I couldn't tell that it's only been a few days because it's sold out basically everywhere. And we got some pretty good stuff coming up as well. So we're starting with Extreme Force Special Edition in a few weeks. That comes out on the 23rd of March. Special editions are one of our core products that we do every year. We take 3 packs of one of our core 100 card boosters and we bundle it together with some promotional cards. And the promotional cards are, well, you get 2 out of 4. 2 of the cards are basically important cards for either playing with the booster packs in question or playing in the current game, or just things that you couldn't get anywhere else because they were promotional cards for magazine subscriptions or something that's just not really possible to get everywhere in a product. For this set, we've got a couple pretty good cards for that. One of them is a high demand card that sees a lot of play in competition today. And then we also bring forward a couple of cards from the next booster set. So one of the things that many players know is that there's a bit of a disjoint between the releases. So by the time we release one booster set, cards from the next one are already starting to be spoiled in Japan. And they see a lot of those cards. Sometimes they're like, oh man, I wish we had that now. I wish we could get that right now. So we try to fill that demand with the special editions by bringing forward a couple of interesting cards from the next set that they can use right now. And there's another really good one there that helps you to counter some of the more disruptive strategies in the current game environment. And around the same time, we're also going to have Kaiba's Majestic Collection. This is one of our two, actually, accessory lineups that we're going to do this year. This is based on Seto Kaiba. Goes very well with the Legendary Collection Kaiba that just came out. We've got the art from Majesty with Eyes of Blue, and we've got some Kaiba art on there, and they are really fetching-looking accessory products. I don't really think that a PDF of the brochure does them a whole lot of justice, but you can come by to booth 407 afterwards when the show floor opens and take a look at them for yourself. I'm personally a big fan of the deck boxes. We use that style of deck box in R&D all the time, and I love them. So after that, we've got Star Pack Vrains. So I mentioned that we started the new animated series, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. And one of the things that I really like about this series is that the decks and strategies used by the main characters, and in particular the heroes, are good in a competitive environment. So decks like Trickstars, which debuted in Code of the Duelist, have been in the top cut of basically every tournament since they were released. They're one of the main heroines cards. And in Star Pack Vrains, you'll be able to get cards used by the more heroic characters and maybe the kind of ambivalent ones in kind of easy-to-get format, 99 cents per pack, 3-card packs. This is a good thing for kids, or if you are just on a budget and you want to be able to build one of those character decks, that's what Star Pack Vrains is good for. After that, we've got our next structure deck. Structure decks are always one of our most popular releases. We do usually at least 2 of them a year. These are pre-constructed decks that have a cohesive strategy and a viable strategy built into them. That's part of why they're so popular. If you're just starting off and you know how to play the game but you don't know how to build a deck, structure decks are great for that because not only do we provide you with all the cards you need, you also get an illustrated guide that visually shows you, okay, these are the combos, you can put the cards together like this is how you use them. And if you're a more competitive player, what they tend to do is buy 3 copies of the deck, ignore the guide, and just put them together however they feel is best. And that's fine too. Either way is good, whether you get 1 and you follow the guide and it tells you where you can go from there, or if you just get 3 and put them together yourself, structure decks are great for all players, essentially. And after that, we've got our next core booster set. So I say core booster set, I mean the 100-card booster sets where all of the cards are new. Sometimes we'll do special sets that have a whole lot of cards, but not all of them are new. But 4 times a year we have a core booster set, and those cards are all new. Flames of Destruction is the last core booster set of this 2017-2018 competitive season. And generally the way it goes is that the last booster set of the season has at least one standalone theme in it that's pretty darn strong because it's not really going to get a whole lot of support going forward, so we make it good right out of the box. This set has 2 of them. One of them is the Element Sabers, which call back to some of the oldest really big, scary boss monsters of Yu-Gi-Oh! Called the Elemental Lords. And the other one is the answer to one of your scavenger hunt things in the brochure you got for the booth. So I can't tell you what it is right now, but come to booth 407, and I'll be happy to tell you all about it later. Dark Saviors is, we call them special boosters. This isn't quite all new. It's 60-card boosters. These are 5-card packs, but they're all foil cards. And the purpose of these special boosters is to give you an experience with 3 different strategies. And all the themed cards that you need to build them are all in this pack. So if you want to build one of the 3 decks, you can just get this pack and you'll get all the themed cards you need, and you can combine it with a few generic cards you already own, or some other generic cards that we included to help out. Dark Saviors I'm particularly excited about because it's not often in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we have monsters that are monsters that people already know about, but then they also do the things that people already know they're supposed to do. So like we're tapping into horror imagery this time around with vampires. And vampires have been in Yu-Gi-Oh! For a long time, but they haven't always had the powers that vampires are known for. Like, the old vampire mechanic was inflict damage, your opponent sends a card from their deck to the graveyard. The new vampire mechanic is vampires attack your opponent's monster, bite them, and then you get their monster. So it's nice to have the confluence of what everybody knows vampires for and have that translate into Yu-Gi-Oh! I think players are going to enjoy that theme quite a lot. I also think they're going to enjoy the Sky Striker theme from this set as well, because it has a very unique mode of play that utilizes a lot of spell cards instead of a lot of monsters. Most Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks right now are very heavy on monsters, since that's what you use to battle and win the game. This deck uses a lot of spell cards to support one monster, and the core gimmick of it is you have a lot of spell cards, they all do something good on their own. If you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, they do something else that's good as well. So you could take a card that says destroy a monster, but if you have 3 spells in your graveyard, you also destroy a spell or trap. So I think a lot of the more advanced players are going to be excited for that, and I think Dark Savior is going to be a great release for us. Next up, we got Flames of Destruction Special Edition. This is another one of the Special Edition packs, and I mentioned the Element Sabers and how they work with Elemental Lords before. The one problem with the Elemental Lords is that they're pretty old cards. They've actually never been reissued since they were first printed. So we need to get Elemental Lords into the players' hands, so we put the first 2 of them in Flames of Destruction Special Edition. In addition to a couple cards from the Summer Booster set, Cybernetic Horizon, one of which is going to do a lot of good for players who bought into the themes from Extreme Force. All right, go ahead and move on. There we go. And then when you get into the summer, so last year we had a set called Battles of Legend Light's Revenge, and that was a big hit with our players. What we like to do sometimes is not all of the cards from TV ever make it to the actual physical game. There's just so many of them. And some of them are cards that they're just really strong or really difficult to actually adapt to the real game. But once a year, we do like to take a crack at a lot of those cards, because a lot of them are very famous things, like the Seal of Orichalcos was back in the classic series. So we don't want to just leave those things on a list to never be created in the game, especially because players want them. They write in all the time saying, oh, can you make this? Could you please make this? Could you please make this? And when they write in with things like that, so we want to say, yeah, sure, we'll do that. So that's what we've been doing with Battles of Legend the past couple of years. We want to take cards that people thought that we would never make and bring them into the real game. Information on this is very tight for right now, but I can tell you so far that we are bringing back Time Lords from the previous release, which were the most popular of the new cards, and people were asking us all year, when are we going to get the other ones? When are we going to get the other ones? Well, I can tell you that Sendayon, the Time Lord, is in there, but you'll just have to wait to see what else we've got in Battles of Legend, Relentless Revenge. One of the other cards is, another thing that people thought we would never make was Orgoth the Relentless. So there's a character in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series who makes his own kind of knockoff version of the Duel Monsters card game that everybody plays, and his original monster, Do Not Steal, that he made for it is Orgoth the Relentless. And we're finally bringing that to life as an actual card. So I think players are going to be excited for this. Then we got the starter deck, Codebreaker. You always need somewhere to start. Starter decks are the easiest way to learn how to play because we like to pack them with simple effects that are pretty strong, but easy to understand and don't create a lot of rules conflict, so you can just learn the basics of the game. And last year, the big push was getting people to learn how to link summon. So we did that with Starter Deck Link Strike. But one thing that we looked at with Starter Deck Link Strike was that once you learned how to link summon with it, it didn't really give you anywhere to go from there. It was just kind of, okay, you know how to link summon now, but there's not a next step to get you further into Yu-Gi-Oh! And the new monster for Starter Deck Codebreaker kind of changes that. It's fine on its own, but you can't really get its full power out until you've played with multiple of the Code Talker monsters, which are monsters used by the main character from Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. So our idea with Codebreaker is that you'll play it, and you'll play with the new monster and be like, okay, I understand this now, and then realize, you know what, if I had a couple more of these Code Talkers, I could really make something here. And then you can go through the previous releases, Structure Deck Cyberslink, Extreme Force, and there'll be future releases as well that have these Code Talker monsters, and just start building from there and get you started on your journey through Yu-Gi-Oh! And then, last one that we have for right now is Cybernetic Horizon. So when we started with Link summoning, there was kind of a worry that Link monsters were just going to take over the game, and we wouldn't really be supporting all of the other summoning themes that much. And for a while, it probably seemed like that might have been true since we needed to get a lot of different link monsters into players' hands so that they could interact with the new rules. But starting with the next competitive season, we're going to be bringing back those older summoning mechanics and really integrating them into the game. And this set's going to start with ritual monsters and a few synchro monsters as well. So I'm fortunate that information on this set started to be released right before GAMA, because there's a lot of cool stuff in here, and I was worried I wasn't going to be able to talk about it at all. So Cybernetic Horizon is so named based on the old set Cybernetic Revolution, which introduced Cyber Dragon to the game. Cyber Dragon was a key monster from the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX series, and it was a real game changer. It kind of changed the way the game was played for a significant number of years. Now, last year we released Legendary Dragon decks, and one of the decks in that was a Cyber Dragon deck. So everybody who has the Cyber Dragon deck from Legendary Dragon decks already has the cards they need to use the new Cyber Dragon cards in Cybernetic Horizon. So they can just pick up the packs. There's a new Link monster in there that's already been shown. It's pretty good. Can't quite tell you anything else about it yet, but Cyber Dragon is supported in this set. As for Synchro monsters, Dragoonides, one of the more popular Synchro themes from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's era, returns here. Now, that wasn't actually a TV deck. Those were introduced in the dual terminal arcade machines and later put into the Hidden Arsenal booster packs. They later got a structure deck of their own that was pretty popular for a while, and players have been asking us for more Dragoonides. Can we get more Dragoonides? Well, yeah, you can get more Dragoonides. We are bringing them back in Cybernetic Horizon, and if you didn't quite get the Dragoonide cards the first time around, we made sure to seed a couple of the cards that you do need to play the deck as part of Legendary Kaiba in the Mega Packs. So important cards you need for that deck are in there, and you'll see in the future, we've seeded Legendary Collection Kaiba with a few things that you're going to need for upcoming products, but we'll have to wait a little longer to find out what exactly that's going to be. And finally, for the ritual monsters, that's kind of the core theme of Cybernetic Horizon. Back in the GX era, we had a set called Shadows of Infinity that produced two ritual monsters named Ruin and Demise. Demise went on to become a championship-winning deck, and now it's getting a return with Cybernetic Horizon. Actually, Ruin and Demise are. There's kind of this idea of these monsters they're not necessarily there to destroy everything. They're kind of agents of destruction and rebirth, that sort of thing. So it would make sense for them to have a beginning and a middle and an end instead of just one form or two forms. So the original Demise and Ruin they already exist, and in Cybernetic Horizon, we're introducing two new forms of each. And the core card is also going to be a ritual monster that will be seen in upcoming episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, the Cybernetic Magician. So that about does it for our upcoming product lineup. And actually, it looks like I'm just about out of time. So thank you all for coming out and listening. And if you want to ask questions or know anything more about these products, come on down to our booth, number 407, and I'll be happy to help.
All right, hi everybody. I'm Eric Mona. I'm the publisher at Paizo Incorporated. We make the Pathfinder and Starfinder role-playing games, and here at GAMA 2018, we're really excited to have the first public debut of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. We announced Pathfinder 2nd Edition last week and have been taking retailers and distributors through demos all this weekend. And so we've got a bunch of stuff going on today, and we've got things to show off at the booth and what have you. But basically what Pathfinder 2nd Edition is it is a new iteration of the Pathfinder role-playing game, which launched back in 2009 as an extension or sort of an offshoot of 3.5 edition D&D under the Open Game License. Pathfinder has been a leading brand in the tabletop arena since then, and we've continued to publish books for it every month, really, but hardcover books with big rules updates about 3 times a year. At about the 4th book that we published, which was called the Advanced Player's Guide, we started adding a lot of options that had not previously appeared in any version of the game. One of those being archetypes, which are sort of a template that you put on top of your character to further customize them. Others being traits, which are sort of ways to fill out the background of your character. Subsequently, what's happened over the course of the next 8 years or so is that those have become part of the rules that everybody uses and sort of the default assumption for Pathfinder, but they're not even in the main core rulebook. And so I, as the chief creative officer of the company and the person who decides what books we do and how they're done, had been saying to my staff that eventually we'll want to go in and add that stuff into the core rules, but if we do, we might as well fix all the other stuff that we want to fix, after working on this game for so long. So we wanted to wait till there was a critical mass of those things, and also I wanted to wait at least 10 years to show our audience that we're not in kind of an edition treadmill and that we're taking this thing slowly and seriously. So in August 2nd of this year, we will be dropping the Pathfinder Playtest Rulebook as a free download for people to playtest. Last time when we did something similar, we had 55,000 players download it and give us a bunch of feedback, which we incorporated into the final version. So we will be publishing the final version of the second edition Pathfinder Core Rulebook in August of 2019. But we've got quite a ways to go before we get there. We have the playtest rulebook, which drops August 2nd as a free download and in 3 different formats in retail stores all around the world. That includes a softcover rulebook for $29.99, a hardcover rulebook for $44.99, and a super special deluxe edition with a leatherette cover and a gold foil or metallic foil imprint on the front and a bound-in ribbon, and that is going to be $59.99. As to how many of these we're going to make, well, we're making them directly to order. So we have a playtest window from August 2nd to about the end of the year. And that's a lot of time to get good feedback for the game, but it's not enough time for us to do a second print run. So we're doing all one print run of the playtest rulebook. There are 2 other products. There's the playtest adventure, which is called Doomsday Dawn, which is a series of 7 short adventures that test different levels of the game, different aspects of the game. And our formal playtest feedback mechanism will follow along with that adventure on a bi-weekly basis. We'll have in-depth surveys online to get detailed feedback from people. We'll also, as we did last time, have an open message board that people can come and post on and interact with our designers and stuff. But this time we're also doing some more formalized response surveys. In addition to the playtest adventure, Doomsday Dawn, which is $24.99 in softcover, 96 pages. We are going to do a flip mat multi-pack, which is a set of 2 double-sided maps with erasable, you can write on it with ink and wipe it off. And those will be key encounter areas in the Doomsday Dawn adventure, just to give people kind of that premium playtest experience. So all that stuff drops on August 2nd. All of it will be free online, but all of it will also be in print. Because we do not have the opportunity to reprint, we've been pushing a pre-order message pretty fiercely, and retailers are already taking pre-orders. There is a form that players can print out and take to their retail store to let them know that they're interested in buying these products, so that the distributors can know how many to order, so that we can know how many to print. Last time we took the several hundred-page playtest document, this is back in 2008, to a print shop and got a bid to see how much it would cost for a fan just to print it out to run it, and it turned out to be more expensive than actually buying a book. So we made several thousand softcover books, thought we might have these until Christmas, released them on middle of August, and they sold out in 3 days. So we know there's a market for print books, and we're going to print exactly to that market. So once we get the feedback, we'll incorporate that into the rules, and that will come out in August of 2019 at Gen Con and simultaneously in stores all around the world. We will, at that point forward, be publishing stuff for second edition Pathfinder. Up until that point, we continue to do first edition Pathfinder. We've got a new first edition hardcover book called Plain Air Adventures that comes out in June. And that will be the final hardcover first edition Pathfinder book, but we will continue to publish the monthly Adventure Pass, the bi-monthly Player Companion and campaign setting books, and continue our Pathfinder Society Organized Play program, which is a worldwide program with more than 85,000 active players all around the world. That will continue in first edition Pathfinder all the way up until August of 2019. Thereafter, we will stop publishing new first edition products, but we are going to leave all of the first edition rule books in print in our softcover pocket guide edition. And that's largely because we know there's going to be some people who are just not going to want to convert right away. What they like about Pathfinder is that they have 40 classes to choose from and 100 different races to choose from. So because it's going to take us a while to get there, we know some people are going to be more comfortable staying in the old system for a little while, so we're going to accommodate that and make that possible for them to do that by buying the stuff from us. Pathfinder Society itself, starting in August, will be releasing 3 playtest scenarios that people can play within sort of the aegis of the Pathfinder Society campaign. And they'll be releasing a 4th adventure, I think, in September or October. So lots of stuff geared up for the new edition. We continue to do Starfinder, which has been our highly successful science fantasy role-playing game. We launched that last year. Every book we've done in that line is in either its 2nd or 3rd printing already, and so a lot of excitement about that, and that will continue going forward with its current edition indefinitely. We, in August of this year, because the demand for adventures is so great, we are going to be shifting the Starfinder Adventure Path from bi-monthly to monthly. And we're going to be doing an experiment where we do a little series of 3 adventure paths, so 3-volume adventure paths. So you'll be able to play a whole story arc in 3 months as opposed to, waiting for 6 volumes, as is the usual way of doing it. That's kind of the long of short of it. We're really excited about the new edition. The goal for the new edition is to make the game easier to learn, easier to teach, a little bit faster to play at the table without sacrificing the rich depth of options that characters have and that players have to develop their characters. In fact, with the addition of some new rules like backgrounds, and we're changing race, which traditionally it's been race, and you have dwarves and elves and all that. We're changing that to ancestry, and part of the reason behind that change is we're vastly diversifying the number of options that you have for your character's race. So, for example, if you choose to be a dwarf, you can, throughout the period of your career, go back and add different ancestry feats to make your dwarf even more dwarfy, instead of race just being a decision you make at the beginning of your character and never really touching on it again. So we're doing that. We're making it faster, but adding a lot more options as well. And like I said, the reaction has been very positive so far to the people who have played it. The real test, of course, will be on August 2nd when we release it for the whole world to play. And we will be listening, and we will be making changes based on people's feedback. So I don't know if it's traditional in this venue to take questions, but I'm more than happy to do that as well. Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
You mentioned there's a deadline for retail stores to get their orders in.
Yeah. So good question. So the question is, what's the deadline for the retail stores? They can start ordering right now. The distributors all have the information in their databases and things. We are going to close our orders on May 1st, which is when we're going to ask all of our distributors how many we should print. And so I suspect that the distributors will close their orders maybe about a week before that, but it's going to be up to each of the individual distributors. So I would say by the end of April, we really need all those orders to be in. Any other questions? No? Okay, well, that's pretty much it. And thank you for your time. And if you want more information, you can always check out Paizo.com. And if you want specific playtest information, you can go to PathfinderPlaytest.com, and that'll take you right to the playtest page. Thanks, everybody.
I'm Shunichi Taira, Director of Development from Bushiroad. And today, I'm going to explain about the upcoming Vanguard new season, which starts in June. And Vanguard is in its 7th year, and we realized that the game is, if you don't know, it's a trading card game, but we realized that the game is more and more complicated, and it's nearly impossible for new players to start playing. And as you know, with any game, you continuously need new players to keep growing. And so for the new season, the theme is going to be make it attractive and possible for new players or former players to start playing again. And first, for the animation, we're going back to the original characters from the original first season. So with like Aichi and Kai, but we're not just gonna redo the first season. It's the same characters, but it's going to follow the comic storyline. So even for people who watched the original first season, it's going to be very a new plot for them. So we hope the reintroduction of the original characters will make it appealing for former players who used to watch but stopped watching to want to watch again, and also for new players who wasn't following Vanguard when it originally launched, it'll be I'm sure it'll be appealing for them as well. So these are just showing the new the characters coming back, and the animation starts May 5th on YouTube and Crunchyroll. And for the trading card game, the theme is going back to what made Vanguard so fun and popular at the beginning. And we broke down into 3 key elements. First, it was simple enough for anyone to pick up and start playing. And it was a quick and exciting game that you wanted to play over and over again. And third is characters. So Vanguard is a title with animation and card game. So you get to play with the characters that appear in the animation and play just like those characters. And plans for the different clans. So currently we have 24 different clans or classes of cards in Vanguard. And even with the new series, every clan will be supported at least 1 year. So this is to assure to the current players, although we're entering new season, we're still going to support their clans at least once every year. And there will be some new mechanics, and for this new season, each clan will have one of the 3 following attributes: Force, Excel, Protect. So Force is more like both offense and defense. Excel is more offensive. Protect is more a defensive style. And this new mechanic is called Imaginary Gift. Well, it's very technical, so I won't go into detail here. But the details are on the website, which you can look up. But basically, depending on what clan you're playing, when units trigger certain abilities, if the clan is a Force clan, you get a Force gift card. If you're Excel, you get an Excel card. If you're Protect, you get a Protect card. So this is just an additional element to the game. And these are the abilities of each gift card. These slides are on the website, so you can see details on the website. And Vanguard also has a trigger mechanic, which we are upgrading for the new season. And we're introducing a new type of trigger card. Yeah. And the first trial decks released June 8th with the trial decks of the 2 main characters. And yeah, these are the specs. Yeah, and yeah, you're able to just start playing just by buying 1 trial deck. And each trial deck contains the key unit of each character. So just by buying the trial deck, you can just relive the games from the animation. And this is just an example of a card. And if you're aware of the current Vanguard card, there are some minor upgrades to the card frame. So just by looking at the front side, you'll be able to tell whether this card is from the new series or it's from the previous series. Yep. And there's some promotions for the trial deck with a signed hot stamp card from the original comic writer inserted randomly. And the first Burst 2-pack releases June 22nd. And there's some additional rarities that will be added. And this is the release schedule up until September. So we have a release every month. And as you can see, each release supports different clans. So by September, about half of the clans will already receive support. Yes, and this is the key part about making it possible or attractive for new players or former players to come in again. And we are introducing tournament formats from the new season. So currently, there's only 1 format where you can use all the cards ever released. So if a new player wants to start playing again, he'll need to collect all of the cards. But from the new series, we're introducing a format called Standard, where you can only cards from the new series can be used. So if a player wants to start playing, all he needs to do is get cards from the new season, and you can start playing right away. And the second format we have is for the current players or more experienced players, which is called Premium, where you can play all of the cards. So from the new series, we're going to support both formats equally. We don't want current players to feel that their old cards have become useless. For people who want to continue playing with the old cards, we have the Premium format. For players who just want to start playing now, we have the Standard format. And during the transition period into introducing new formats, we also have this G format available for players who just want to keep playing with the cards that they already have. And with the G format, you can only use cards from the old series. So for players with their current decks, they can play in the G format without having to add cards from the new series. And this is how the format schedule is going to look like. So up until May is the current regulation. From June, we introduced the 3 formats. And then June to October is the transition period where we have the G format, where players can keep playing with just the cards that they have currently. And from November onwards is the Premium and Standard 2 format style. And for shop tournaments, shops don't have to choose which format to run. They can run tournaments in all 3 formats. So maximum of 10 tournaments per month. And we provide tournament support for all those formats. And our World Championship Series this year will be supported in both Premium and Standard formats. So we'll have a world champion for both formats. Yes. So just to go over the formats, so Standard is only new cards can be used. It's for new players, returning players. The Premium format is you can use all the cards. It's for experienced players who want a wide selection of cards and mix all the cards that ever released. G format is for the players who just want to keep playing with the current cards that they have now. And there's no need to get the cards from the new series. Yep. And with the start of the new series, we're doing a demo caravan in 300 locations worldwide from June. And every participant will receive a free deck. And our Bushiroad staff will go down to each of these 300 stores to teach players on how to play Vanguard. Yep. And these are some just additional info. We have a Bermuda Triangle animation in the making. Bermuda Triangle is one of the clans of Vanguard, and which is actually one of the most popular. And so this animation series will be separate from the normal Card5 Vanguard animation series. And yeah, so more information on this will be coming soon. And we also have a mobile game planned for release at the end of this year, or it might be early next year. That's for the Japanese version, but we're already working on the English version, which will come out probably sometime next year. And in this mobile game, you can play a game of Vanguard. There's a story mode where you can follow the story of the animation. And we hope that this will be another portal of entry for new players. And that's about it. Thank you.
All right, well, I'm Jackie Miserani. I think I've met many of you, but I'm the marketing manager at USAopoly. For those of you not familiar, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with USAopoly, we're a leading developer and manufacturer of board games, collectibles, and puzzles. We've been around since 1994, working in partnership with Hasbro as one of their official North American licensing partners. We have the privilege of working with some of the industry's best licenses, Disney and Marvel, Nintendo, Warner Brothers, Warners, Cartoon Network, HBO, Fox, CBS, you name it. We've been able to have the privilege of working alongside them to develop some great games. In 2009, we released our #1 party game, Telestrations, and that kind of spawned and launched our original games business, which now today includes other award-winning titles like Telestrations After Dark, Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, Tapple, Rollers, and Nefarious the Mad Scientist game. I'm really excited because just yesterday I got the green light from one of our major licensing partners to make an exclusive announcement here today that we have not been sharing at Toy Fair or at the show thus far. So here we go. As you may or may not know, this year it marks the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter. It's the anniversary of the publishing of the first novel, which then kind of gave birth to one of the highest grossing international entertainment franchises ever. And USAopoly is really excited to announce that we're going to be doing 5 new Harry Potter games this year to commemorate that. As we announced at Toy Fair last month in New York, our World of Harry Potter Ultimate Edition Trivial Pursuit will be releasing later this summer. It really is the definitive trivia game for Harry Potter fans with over 1,800 questions, a full-color, full-size game board, and these really beautiful custom sculpted crest house movers that you're going to use to collect your wedges in the game. It's for 2 or more players. It encompasses trivia from all 8 films, and it's going to retail for $49.95. We're hoping to have that on shelf in July. That's the first one. Number 2, Fantastic Beasts Perilous Pursuit. This is a press your luck dice rolling cooperative set collection game. The goal here is to get 5 creatures into the suitcase and distract the beast. It's a 2 to 4 player game, and you're going to take on the role of one of the heroes from the films, either Newt, Jacob, Queenie, or Tina. It's going to be available this fall. We're aiming for an August date. It's going to retail for $29.95, and we're really excited because it will be on shelf in time for the Fantastic Beasts sequel, which is coming out November of this year. Third up, we're really excited about this one, leveraging our great partnership with Steve Jackson Games, Harry Potter Munchkin Deluxe. It's going to be a game for 3 to 6 players. It's going to feature that full game board and the movers included inside that. The game board is going to be a map of Hogwarts, and you're going to get to track your progress on the map instead of on your individual tracker cards. The cards are going to feature villains, creatures, allies, items, and spells from all the films that you know and love. And it's not going to be illustrated. It's only going to use movie images. This is the first ever Munchkin that's not illustrated, so we're really excited to see how this is going to come together. It's going to be available later this fall, and it's going to retail for $34.95. Another really exciting partnership for us with Czech Games, we're going to bring to life Harry Potter Codenames. It's going to be this cooperative word association party game for 2 or more players based on Codenames Duet. Players are sharing secret information with other members of the Order of the Phoenix. They've got 15 spaces they need to cover, and they're going to try to avoid those Death Eaters, because if they're uncovered, it's going to lead to an instant loss. Again, this is not going to be illustrated. It's going to use actual movie imagery. And similar to our Disney and Marvel codenames that are out right now, there's going to be words on one side and then images on the other. This is going to be available in fall for $24.95. And last but certainly not least, I'm really excited to share a continuation of our super successful Hogwarts Battle deck building line, Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle Dueling Club. This is not an expansion, but rather a standalone companion game, kind of continuing the line. It is still a deck building game though. It's inspired by the core Hogwarts Battle deck building game, but it's competitive. It's a 2-player game, and Hogwarts Battle, as you know, is cooperative. The premise here is you're practicing your spells in Dueling Club after class at Hogwarts. You're trying to build a powerful deck to attack your opponent and move them off the game board. It's just offering fans more awesome deck building immersion into this Harry Potter world. It's going to retail for $24.95, and it's going to be available in fall of 2018. That is all I have for you today. I'm really excited that you guys are the first to hear officially our media announcement surrounding our new Harry Potter line. So if there's any questions or inquiries, please let me know, or you can email us, press@usaopoly.com. That'll come to me.
Hi, I'm Dominic McDowell. I run Cubicle 7. I'm going to run through a few of our new products for you today. We've got lots of great stuff coming this year, so without further ado, we are launching a new line of card games. Dungeon Abbey is the overarching title for them. A shorthand could be Downton Abbey meets the Addams Family. You have a horrible British aristocratic family, the Dungeons. They were absolutely reviled by everybody until they found lots of catacombs under Dungeon Abbey. And in those are lots of monsters that you may be familiar with from various fantasy things. Being a horrible British family, they decided that they were going to set off down there, organise shooting parties, and bag trophies. So since then, they've been a lot more popular. They are the stars of the social circuit. The first game that we have is Giftmas at Dungeon Abbey. And this, they're a horrible family. They want horrible things for Christmas, and they want to make sure that they spoil everybody else's Giftmas too. So you have like the Countess Dungeon there. She's all about the offensive. She just wants to get electrodes and axes. You have the Piers, my sister son. He wants puppies and man traps, which is a concerning combination. It's a great fun game. You've got all the presents face down. You're trying to get the ones you want and stop everybody else getting the ones that they want. Then the shooting party, the main event. This is the game of going under the abbey and trying to bag those trophies. So personally, I feel sorry for the beaters who are sent on ahead to poke the monster lairs and get people running to get all the monsters stirred up and running towards them. Back to the main cavern where your horrible characters are there waiting to bag them. Also coming this year, we have The Forest Dragon by Rory, aged 9. Rory is a genius, and yes, it's been absolutely amazing working with him. His younger brother did help him out with the artwork as well. It's an absolutely charming game, but you are adventurers setting out into the forest looking for treasure. There's lots of treasures that you're looking for. But there's also some monsters in the forest too. So you're turning over cards, trying to find the treasures. And if you encounter a monster, then you get scared and run away. Sometimes you drop stuff from your backpack while you're doing that, and the monsters do all sort of wonderful things. So the artwork is absolutely adorable. It's a very charming game. So those three coming summer this year. We also announced that we are releasing the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. This is a much beloved game line. And we're very excited to be bringing the 4th edition out this year. The core offering we have is the rulebook on the left there, or your right. That's the hardback book. That's coming the middle of the year with a retail price point of $59.99. We also have a starter set, which will be following after the core rulebook with a $29.99 price point. We also announced that we're doing the Age of Sigmar role-playing game. The Age of Sigmar is a fantastic setting. It's so broad and imaginative. It's absolutely fantastic. So that'll be coming a bit later in the year, and yeah, we're really looking forward to that one. We also publish Adventures in Middle-earth, which is the Middle-earth setting for the world's favourite role-playing game. We published that, the first products, about a year and a half ago now, and it's been fantastically successful. It's really been very well received. We've been blown away by the reaction to it, and it's developing into quite a line now. We've got many region source books and adventure scenarios. There's a lot more to come. We also published The One Ring, which is our design from the ground up Middle-earth role-playing game. And that one's an even more mature line at the moment. There's a lot of support material available for it and more coming out all the time. So, you've got your 2 flavours of Middle-earth there, depending on what your group likes to play, whether they're interested in a new rule set that's designed from the ground up, or if they want to use it with their usual game. And Moria is the big exciting thing for both those lines coming out this year. The original Mega Dungeon, so we're having a lot of fun putting that together, and we'll have more news on that shortly. We also published the Doctor Who role-playing game, amongst other Doctor Who games. We have the 12th Doctor source book and a scenario book coming out this year. And currently available are many, we've got a 2-card game, we've got Time Clash and Dalek Dice that we'll come to in a little bit. Cthulhu Tales was released last year, but I thought it was worth reminding you of this one. It is a storytelling card game. At the end of a lot of Lovecraftian stories, people end up in the asylum. In this one, you're trying to convince people that you actually saw what you said you saw. It's a good fun game for Lovecraft fans, and that is available now. And Dalek Dice, last but not least, we have. It's a push-your-luck dice game. You're Daleks. You're trying to invade the Earth. You roll lots of dice. You shout "exterminate" in your best Dalek voice. What could go wrong? Excellent. That's it for my presentation today. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, then we're all good.
I'm Anne-Marie DeWitt from Fireside Games, and want to tell you about the new games that we have coming out for 2018. The first release will be Remnants. It's a post-apocalyptic survival game. The street date is June 27th, so we'll have some copies available at Origins as an early release, and then full release June 27th. MSRP is $39.95, and here's the prototype laid out. There's basically like 3 stages of play with Remnants. The first is a real-time resource gathering. Sorry about that. Real-time resource gathering, where you'll have survivors that you're sending out into the Badlands to gather resources, and you'll use dice to match faces so that you're able to get those resources. You're also sending looters out that can get valuable medicine and screwdrivers and scrap that you can use for other resources. And then the second phase is a development phase where you're developing your compound, and you're spending those resources, and you can see on the cards, and I'll have a visual later, where you can see the cost of the cards as well as the benefit you get from those cards, and you'll use the abilities of those cards to fight then the raiders. So let me go into that in a little bit more depth here. This shows how the dice function works when you have your survivors out as scavengers. You can see we have 3 dice faces that match. Those are all for wood. So you call out wood, and then you take the wood resource and you put it on one of the scavengers that you have. And so you'll be able to get as many resources as you commit to scavenging. You'll also have looters that go out, and for each looter that you have, you'll be able to roll a die. And that die will yield pips. So you can see below the metal there, which is the resource, you have the pips. And that means you get 3 loot that you can allocate in any way you'd like to. So you can allocate, in this case, you could allocate one for medicine to help heal your survivors, or a screwdriver, and you can use screwdrivers as additional hit points in the fight against the raiders. And then we also have scrap. If you use 2 scrap, it yields 1 wild resource of any kind that you want. And then you can see here, these are examples of development cards. We have our defensive cards, our special cards, and our weapons. And you can see at the top, we have a wood fence. That's our defensive card. It takes 1 wood and 2 cloth to get a wood fence. And then once you have it, you have 2 shields against the raiders. If the raider is also a creature, that's going to be 3 shields. And what that does is it knocks down the health of that raider by that amount. So if you have a raider that's worth 7 health, this will knock it down, if it's a creature, to 4 health. And then if you have, say for an example, an axe, that gives you 1 fist. You can roll 1 die, and however many pips that are on that die, that's your fight value against. So if you were able to roll enough to bring that raider down to a health of 0, you would have won that fight. So, and then you also have special cards such as the rucksack. After scavenging, take 1 resource still on the board. So that gives you kind of some special advantage in the game. And then a lot of these cards will also chain against each other to build up your compound. Here's an example of one of the raiders that will come out. This is a creature, turtle bears. You can see his health is 7, and he will reduce your weapons by 1 fist. So if you have gone heavy on weapons and light on defenses, he's going to be harder on you. He's going to take one of those 1 die away from you when you're fighting him. If you're successful, then you'll get 1 scrap and 1 medicine. If you're unsuccessful, you will lose 1 of your development cards. We also have an abstract strategy coming out. Street date for this one is August 1st. It's Grackles. So with this one, you are taking on the role of a bird. You're trying to line up your birds on telephone wire. And each turn, you're going to get one action, one of these 4 actions. You can draw and place a tile. You can see the starting tiles here. You can build a line of birds. You can extend that line, and then you can rotate an empty tile. And so here's some more examples. In this case, we have a tile that's been placed next to the starting tiles there, adjacent to it. And then here's a row of grackles that have been laid out. This, I should mention, this is a prototype. We're actually going to have acrylic debossed tokens with the birds on them. So they're going to look really beautiful, feel really good in your hands. So that was really important for this game. So this is an example of line of the purple grackles. And then if you wanted to extend the line, you can see that there's a purple circle that you could extend this line of birds to. And the way that you're laying down those lines is by connecting 2 purple dots. So you're able to extend that line there off to the side of the line horizontally, but you cannot go vertically because that's not part of the line. That would be going perpendicular. So you would need 2 dots to connect. You can also rotate a token, and we're showing here that someone might want to rotate that token so that they're putting in place another purple circle so that they could extend that line. So we also have some key marketing support that's coming out. With Remnants, we're going to be releasing a launch kit that will give you a demo copy, 2 quick start guides, 4 giant scorpion promo cards, a giant poster for stores to let people know about the event, a shelf talker, and ask for the promos stickers so that people are aware that there are promos available. So if people are interested in getting in on these promos and joining an event at their store, they might want to contact that store and make sure they're in on the demo kit we have here. We also have International Tabletop Day Tower promo packs, and each pack will have the 2018 International Tabletop Day Tower for Castle Panic, as well as 9 of our best loved promos. And almost all of them also include the 2015 International Tabletop Day Tower. So there's a lot of good value in this. So we encourage stores to buy this and for fans to come out and celebrate International Tabletop Day and enjoy Castle Panic. We also have a Castle Panic event kit that we're using to celebrate International Panic Day, which we are celebrating on June 2nd this year. And each event kit will contain 2 demo copies of Castle Panic, promo cards, suede bags, game totes, and a Defender of the Realm award pin for the person who contributes most to the spirit of the game. We also have different support materials for the materials for the retailers to run the event. So we encourage people to come out June 2nd, celebrate International Panic Day, and play Castle Panic at your local game store. So for everyone who'll be here at GAMA, we're at booth 700. Please come by. We'll show you grackles, we'll show you remnants, and run you through how the gameplay works. And happy to talk to you about anything. Thank you very much.